Now, step two was able to be solved with just one tool, which was the corner juggling. And as long as you know how to corner juggle to fix that special situation that you could come into, you can always just solve step two with that one tool. Now, step three, which is getting the pieces in the correct orientation so that the last side that you're solving, all the pieces of that color are facing up. That has one tool as well. And you can just use this one tool until all those pieces are facing up, and then you've solved the puzzle. And that tool, I call it the scenic route. Some people, I've heard people call it the right 180, left 180. I've heard a lot of people call it like R U2 R prime blah 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 Rubik's cube language stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm going to call it the scenic route because that's what makes sense to me, uh, and makes it the very easiest to explain. But it is important that before you do this scenic route, that you actually do have a completed step two, and that you actually do have all of these pieces in the right place. And so I was just talking about how to identify whether you have all the pieces in the right place. And once you have double checked and you do in fact have all the pieces in the right place, then you can examine this and look for how can you do the scenic route in a way that will finish off uh, your cube. Well, in order to help you with that, we need to look at what does the scenic route do. And what the scenic route does is it just takes two corners and it reorients them. It leaves the whole rest of the cube exactly the way it was, untouched, and it just takes two corners and orients them so that the two pieces that were hanging off to the right here will now be reoriented to point up to the top. So that, if I were to do it right now, it would fix this green piece. This green piece would be oriented up to the top, and it would be next to this green piece. So I would have two that were correct right next to each other. And then this one would have the yellow moved up to the top, and it would have two yellows right next to each other that would both be needing to be fixed. If I were to rotate the cube this way and do the scenic route now, it would move these two up to the top, and then I would have two greens facing the top, but they would be kitty corner to one another, and that usually is not a good idea. That's giving you more work to do than what you need. If I were to rotate it again one time, that would fix this one. This would move this green up to the top, and but at the same time it would break this one. This one would no longer have the green up to the top, and it already has the green up to the top. That also is a very bad idea. You probably don't want that. Same thing with this. This would break this one and break this one, and then you'd be like, I don't know, why would you do that? So the only really good option that seems to be moving me forward the best is the first one that I suggested, is pick this green one up to the top so that I have two solved right next to each other and two needing to be solved right next to each other. And I'm going to do that. So this is what the scenic route looks like. It seems like a very long sequence of events, but I call it the scenic route, and I have um, memorized it in this order with this description in the hopes of trying to make it as easy as possible to remember. If you need to rewatch this a bunch of times, uh, that's fine. It's YouTube. You can do that. But when you've done it a number of times, it starts to get easier to remember. It just sort of starts out very intimidating. But this is the scenic route, and I will try to go slow and be thorough. But you pick up the elevator that is on the right side. So that's the blues on the underside. They will come up to be facing you in the front there. Then you take this passenger and you take them off the elevator with a 180-degree turn. So we want a double turn. We call it the scenic route because this passenger is going as far away from the elevator as they can go. They're going all the way to the opposite side of the office building there. And instead of facing forward, they will now be facing out the back. Then you put that elevator back down without the passenger. Now the passenger comes back halfway to the elevator, but you have to make very certain that you are not bringing them back in the way that would grind them up in the elevator. They need to stay away from the elevator as they're coming back to the elevator. So since this is the right side elevator, we need to bring them halfway back, going along the left side there where they're safe. Now, we bring that elevator back up and we bring the passenger on and put that elevator back down. That is the conclusion of the right side elevator. We need to do a mirror image of that on the left side. We need to do all the same things we just did, but we need to do it like a mirror image. Everything we did on the right, we need to do on the left. We pick the left side elevator up. We take that passenger all the way off as far away from the elevator as they can go. They were facing out the front. Now they're out there facing, looking out the back window of the office building, and the elevator goes back down without them. They come halfway back around the safe way. They don't go this way and get ground up in the elevator. They come halfway back around this way where they can sit safely and wait for the elevator to come back up. The elevator comes back up. The passenger gets back onto the elevator and the elevator goes back down, and that concludes the left side scenic route. We did the right side scenic route and the left side scenic route, and just as promised, that green that was facing over there was moved up to the top, and that yellow that was facing over there has moved up to the top as well. So now we have half of the top solved and half of the top unsolved. Now, we can, these two pieces are still in the right place, they're just still in the wrong orientation. We have green, yellow, orange, where we need a green up top and some orange and yellow. And we have a red, green, yellow, where we need green up top and yellow over here and red over here. In the right place, they're just in the wrong orientation. If we were to do that scenic route with the right side scenic route and the left side scenic route again, that would pick this orange and this red up to the top, and it would move this green that's in the front and this green that's in the back over to here, and then we would have those greens right where we need them to do the right side scenic route and left side scenic route again to pick them up to the top, and then we would be able to solve the whole cube. But there is a much easier way than doing all of that twice, and that easier way is that we can let go of this green side being the top and instead switch to the yellow side being the top, and then look at what's going on now. These two yellows are in the perfect place. If we pick these two yellows up to the top, that's going to pop these greens out this direction. It will solve our whole cube. So all we need to do is the right side scenic route and left side scenic route one more time with these yellows getting reoriented up to the top, and that will solve us. Uh, if you don't believe me, I'll show you this left side, right side scenic route mirror image thing one more time, and I'm betting you that this whole cube will be solved. So let's pick up the right side elevator, which now no longer has blues on the bottom. We have to remember that we have switched the orientation of our whole cube because we want to get this done faster. So now white will be the elevator and white will be the color of the passenger that we're trying to get back to the elevator. Now we pick up the right side elevator. We move this passenger all the way to the back of the building looking out the back window, and the elevator goes back down without them. We bring the passenger safely back to wait for the elevator. We don't go this way, we go this way. The elevator comes back up. The passenger runs, gets back on the elevator, and goes back down, and that concludes the right side scenic route. Now we do a mirror image of that on the left side. The left side elevator comes up. The passenger goes to look out the back window. The elevator goes back down without them. The passenger comes safely, the safe way, not the dangerous way, back to wait for the elevator. The elevator comes back up. The passenger goes back on. And when we put this elevator back down, our whole entire cube, as promised, is solved. We have that blue side that we started with solved. We have the green side solved. We have every side solved. So that, in a nutshell, is the 3 steps to solving 2x2 Rubik's Cube. It does take some work. There are some tools that you need, and those tools do have a lot of steps involved, and you do have to remember how to do them, and you have to remember which situations to do them in. But once you get a mastery of that, you own this 2x2. You own it. You can solve it anytime you want to, and that is the whole goal here on Cube Puzzle Fun. Okay? So, that's me. I'm your host. My rap name is Alex. This is Cube Puzzle Fun, where we learn how to do these things and learn how to really do them. And if you need any help, comment section is always open. If you are enjoying yourself here on Cube Puzzle Fun, you are welcome to join the family here. The subscribe button is right down there on the YouTube there. We have playlists where we will show you in depth, plain English, how to solve all different kinds of these cube puzzles. And peace. Thanks for watching. See you later.